Welcome to the Automation Village. Today we're excited to dive into AI in automation.
That's right. With products like ChatGPT and other advanced technologies, the way we all do our jobs is changing rapidly, especially in the field of industrial automation.
Yeah, it might feel like having robots as coworkers, but don't worry, we're all keeping our human jobs for now.
In this episode, we've got a lot in store for you.
We'll be introducing you to the latest AI products.
We'll be answering questions from some of our listeners.
And discussing tips and tricks for bringing AI into automation.
And we're thrilled to have VTScada's Chief Software Architect, Glenn Wadden, here to do a commentary on this topic.
So Dave, on today's show, we're going to be talking about stuff like ChatGPT, DALL-E 2, Stable Diffusion, and this whole open AI movement as well that's going on. So do you want to give our viewers a bit more background as to what this is all about and what they can expect from this kind of technology?
Yeah, sure. So we are really excited to have today's show really focused on AI. And if you're not familiar with like ChatGPT, DALL-E 2, Stable Diffusion, these are all sort of like next level AIs that have been really making waves, and they're products that anybody can try right now. They're kind of in a research phase where they're letting people experiment, see them, and they're trying to do some learning on the interface before they release this as like a paid product. And so OpenAI is a company who became very well known very quickly with their DALL-E 2 product and also ChatGPT. And I think ChatGPT has been the biggest, most influential one. This is kind of a natural language chatbot that you can ask a whole bunch of things and it will come back with some amazing stuff. If you want help programming, if you have medical questions, if you want to learn something new, if you want a poem done in a certain style, like you can ask it almost anything and it will come back with a very, very good answer generally. So it's really cool. And if you're not familiar with how AI works, AI is basically, there's different implementations of it, but even this ChatGPT, I think I heard that there's like 12 billion nodes or something that it's using to come up with its answers. And ultimately, it's more analogous to a nervous system where you've got this series of, if you think about it, series of nerves or neurons, and then bits and pieces of them will fire at certain levels, and then they basically migrate up to basically these control points that come out with outputs. So it's pretty neat in that way. And so you imagine this basically giant nervous system that's working in the background and coming back with, in ChatGPT's case, you're coming back with a text response, but you can also use it to do things like transform language. You can do things like make images. So if you said, monkey butler riding a skateboard on the moon, it will take all of its learning that it's done in various images and create that image for you, and it will do it amazingly. So if you want to try it, head over to openai.com after the show, and you can scroll down there. You'll see a link to ChatGPT, a link to DALL-E. You can create a free account and try out those products.
That'd be great. Yeah, well, we're looking forward to looking at this during the show. Well, it's great to be back, guys. Really good to see you, Ian and Lee. So welcome back. So we're on to our 4th season. So it's great to have such a great topic actually in this one. So we're talking AI, and so Ian, what are your thoughts regarding kind of AI and the usefulness of AI, and just where are you in this space?
In my world, it has become, for a day-to-day use, profoundly helpful over the past year. The way I think of AI is, up until a year ago, your best AI that you could pay for was a little bit like a first year out of college. If you told them, I need the following things, they would usually go and get data for you. And then they'd present it to you, and usually it'd be right. What I've noticed over the past few months has been, you can now go off and get, for not a great deal of money, AI that if you say, hey, I need to develop the following report on something, it'll go off, it'll fetch the data, it'll have assessed the other assets that you have as a company, decided that there's a pattern of how you like to receive information, and have generated a report for you. And by the way, if you've also explained who that report needs to get to, it will oftentimes be able to prep the emails for you, ask whether or not you want to review them, and the like. So that puts it at the same capabilities as most people who are 2 years out of college. Sometimes they're wrong, but frequently they have a sense of rhythm. And where I see it going is it's just going to keep processing further up the services stack. In things like cybersecurity, AI has been around for a long time. And because you don't have to have it language parsing, it's a much more tractable, it's an easier problem to solve.
And so if you're to look at it from this point of view, like AI will quite confidently give you a very confident answer. It'll say like something very clear, very clean. It sounds like this is textbook. It's perfect, and it has gathered so many sources. So especially within the within the world of water or critical infrastructure. What about you, Lee, in terms of how do you feel that you can kind of trust some of this data as well?
Well, it's really intriguing how, even in our world, the labor pool is decreasing. And, we're going from the baby boomer generation down to, and definitely there's labor shortages all over. And I see these tools as being able to offer a viable means to magnify our ability to produce greater quality work with less time, more efficiency. I'll give you an example. There's a new startup company now that are doing microbiological evaluation of activated sludge processes. And typically the way we did this in the past, we would bottle these samples up, we'd ship them in the mail, and a week later you would get a result back making you recommendations for changing the process. Oh, by the way, while you were waiting for these results, the process was still out of control. This startup is using AI to look at the thousands of different combinations of bacteria, what their different modalities are in the activated sludge, and giving you the distribution of them and corrective action within minutes. You basically take a cell phone over the microscope with a special attachment, and you take an image and you send it to the AI, and the AI calculates out, hey, this is the expected result if you make these process changes. It's amazing what the impact of this technology is going to have on our industry.
Yeah. So in terms of we were kind of discussing, each of us at different times, things like with algorithms that are using by the likes of companies like Tesla for kind of autonomous vehicles and that, and there's been that debate between LiDAR, that you should have LiDAR, as opposed to just pattern recognition. What are your thoughts, either of you, in relation to kind of that? I mean, it's a sensor. Yeah.
When I was in college, man, I had an emphasis in robotics, and that technology, in the 90s, was beginning to ramp up, and basically the technology's kind of plateaued in industry, where you have these robots that operate in cages like curtains. We're trying to protect the worker from the automation, because we really don't have the intelligence to have those two people interact. The human and the robot cannot interact because of the safety aspect of the human. Now, with AIs and LiDAR and vision systems and modeling, the AI and the GPU that has the high-speed data processing can allow those two integral things to work together as more of a team in industry. So in the next 15 years, industry will not look the same as far as the interaction of automation and humans.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. That people are often concerned that you'll have kind of an extra assistant who might actually be better than you technically, when it comes to doing certain tasks. So with that point as well, Ian, your world in terms of cybersecurity and those kind of threats, where do you see we call it the biggest advantage, and maybe the biggest cautionary side to it, because this thing can give you kind of two sides of a tale.
From a cyber defense point of view, the danger of the reason why my company's in business is in no small part because monitoring and prognostics tool sets, which were primitive forms of AI, the same math can be used to acquire target lock and assess behaviors to determine whether or not this particular asset is, in spite of the fact that the traffic is encrypted, that is a process logic controller at a particular site, and therefore it's a prime target. So it has forced an enhancement of cybersecurity standards. It is increasingly forcing people to recognize that yes, you can ignore your standards, but hey, I'm getting attacked an awful lot more. And it's routinizing types of attacks that previously would require a human a couple of days to prepare. So there's the answer there. On the defense side, so the people who are putting out capabilities, what I haven't seen a good firewall come out that uses real AI. I've seen a lot of stuff which is marketing BS for AI, but you'll find people have written their own AI-based firewalls, so you're just checking behaviors constantly and seeing whether or not they're drifting and the like. It's the same darned algorithms, though, that have been around for 30 years. It's the processors that's really driving the improvement here. And also what you were saying earlier about sensors, the sensor data is getting better. You're getting better at taking data and cleaning it before you feed it to the AI. That's really important. I could go on. But
I wish you could. Yeah, I guess that we're going to start running out of time as well. But yeah. So, I mean, from the point of view of like, there's numerous tools, and like in terms of AI, I've personally come across some tools that can actually do mass analysis within the wastewater streams and do it in quite a high-speed way as well, So I mean, those kind of things will revolutionize the industry as well, and our lives more importantly. So any quick closing thoughts in the last minutes, Lee?
Yeah, I just hope that we can all remember Asimov's law of robotics, where first, the robot needs not to injure the human. The second law is the robot must respond to the orders given by the human, and that the robot must be given, should not conflict with either two. Okay, the robot, and this is to prevent how from taking place, where we have a rogue AI. An AI is basically a virtual robot, in my assessment. So anyway, that's the cautionary tale.
And what about you, Ian?
The optimization problems are that if you appropriately tailor what it is you're seeking for optimality, you're going to have a great experience with an AI. The only other thing I would remark is AI is allowing people to trim up their hierarchies underneath them. So a single person, normally you farm that out. Once you get to 8 people, you start creating new pods. You don't need to do that as much because all the drama of handling humans is starting to get winnowed away. So I think something that people should be considering as they move into this for the next 5 years is, how can you manage an organization differently now that you have AI rendering many of the services that you previously had people doing?
Wow.
Right, which is the automation debate and the Industry 4.0 and Industrial Revolution. Yeah, well, look, on that point, wonderful seeing you guys again. Thanks.
Seeing you as always.
Yeah, and thanks to our chat bots that were actually working in the background as well, doing that. So we see you guys next month. And right now, over to Dave for a tip and trick.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Hey everybody, and welcome to today's quick tip. Today we're going to talk about something that often gets missed in VTScada, and I think a lot of people have the perception that if they haven't configured this, then it probably isn't set up in their application. But the reality is the feature that I'm talking about, as soon as you make a new application, it's there, it's built in, it's ready to roll, and it's working as soon as you do anything. And some of you may have guessed what I'm alluding to, and if you haven't, then I will tell you right now, it's application version control in VTScada. So let's take a look at an old demo app that I have up on the screen here, and we can bring up the version control very easily. We just go up into the application configuration here and scroll down on the side pane to show version log. And right here, you can see that I've got a number of different workstations that have connected to my application. You can see when those workstations were last updated and the version of the application that each of those workstations has on it. Now, the other thing about this, if I scroll down to the bottom here, you'll see that all of these workstations are red except for a couple of them, and those two workstations that have black text are workstations that are running the latest version of the application. So typically, if you were running a regular application, you would probably expect to see all your synchronized servers looking like this with the black text, everything's good. And maybe you have an engineering laptop or something else that hasn't seen one of those changes or hasn't connected to the app recently, and that may appear in red. We're using these for demos, so we have people connecting to and from them all the time from different workstations, so that's why it's quite a long list. Now down below here, you see the different versions of the applications that have been created. You can see the time that those versions were pushed, and you can see the user that did it, and also a little comment about what was done. Also in the version there, they do have the workstation that that change was committed from as well. So that can be helpful if you're trying to track down who may have actually done a change. So now let's make a few changes to the application, maybe make a couple mistakes while we do it, and then what we'll do is try to roll things back and get the application back to where we wanted it. So to start things off, let's open the Idea Studio, and let's just draw a simple gauge. We'll put a gauge in down here and just link it to an I/O point. So if I go into my Renderly Lake here, then we'll just grab something. Okay, so we've got some new I/O linked in. We'll bring up the tags again. We'll go to the driver, and we're gonna make one major error here, and that is to accidentally delete all of our tags in this application. So not great. And there's a lot of indications to say, hey, you've done this, maybe you should stop here. But if we didn't notice that and we moved on, then next up, let's just draw our port, and we'll put in a port indicator here, and we'll just place it down here. And so we've closed that, close out of the Idea Studio. Now you can see here all of our information seems to be kind of garbagey because things aren't connected. The drivers are gone, the tags gone. So how do we get this back? Now to add all those tags back would be obviously quite a bit of work, but an easy thing that we can do is to go back into the driver, basically into the version log here, and just look at what we can do. So let's go back here, and we're gonna go to switch to this version. And let's go in here, say switch to this version. But one of the cool things about it is you can see here, he says we're gonna change one source file and 26 tag files. Well, we could say, yeah, we definitely wanna undo that deletion of all those tags, but the widgets that we added here to this page, maybe we wanna keep those. So we can say, you know what? Don't undo the changes to this overview page file, but definitely do undo the pages to everything else. So if we apply that, we can say, and you can see here, I've already got the note in here, remove tag change but not page change. So I'll say okay. And now you can pretty quickly see everything's come back, everything's online, we've got all of our data, and we even have our new widgets. So we can just click right in there, plot, everything's connected, and everything's working. So I hope that is something that you found helpful, and I really hope that you know that that version control is there and know that it's there to help you in case you do make a mistake. So maybe it gives you a little bit more confidence to try something that you wanted to do in VTScada, but you were a little bit worried how it might react. Okay, It's way later, but I was just working on editing the video and I realized that I left out something important. And that's that if you would like to learn VTScada, then you can check out the VTScada Academy. It's an online learning portal. It's free to take all of the courses, and you can do most of it, if not all of it, with the free version of VTScada, VTScada Lite. So if you want, you can check that out, sign up for free, and let us know how you like it. If you're looking for it, just search VTScada Academy or go to VTScada.com. Up in resources, you can go to SCADA software training and you'll find a link there. I hope you found the video helpful. Have a great day.
Hi everybody, welcome to January's version of Questions with Nat. Let's get right into it with question number 1. How easy is it for third-party systems to pull data from the VTScada historian?
Hey, I have an idea. Why don't we ask ChatGPT?
Oh yeah, let's.
It is generally quite easy for third-party reporting systems to pull data from the VTScada historian, as long as they have the necessary connectivity and access credentials. VTScada includes built-in support for exporting data to external databases and file formats, such as CSV, Excel, and SQL. It also provides a range of APIs and data access protocols that can be used by third-party systems to query and retrieve data from the historian. Some of the protocols and standards supported by VTScada include OPC UA, OPCDA, HTTP, and ODBC. If you have any specific questions about how to integrate a third-party reporting system with VTScada, you may want to contact the manufacturer or a VTScada expert for more information.
Well, I have to say, that's actually quite good. As someone who reads that information quite a bit, you could really see where it's pulled information from. Did it mention REST?
It didn't.
So that sort of points out an interesting thing about that particular service, which is that it's not drawing live from the internet. It's actually looking at a snapshot of information from the internet that's about a year, maybe year and a half old. So we've actually only recently added the REST interface to our products. So ChatGPT is not able to see that.
But our contact number is still the same. So if you do need to contact us, it is correct on our website.
That's right.
ChatGPT does know that information. So let's see what they have to say for question number 2.
Okay.
In the future, what role will artificial intelligence play in the field of industrial automation?
Artificial intelligence, AI, is expected to play an increasingly important role in the field of industrial automation in the coming years. AI technologies, such as machine learning and deep learning, can be used to automate a wide range of tasks and processes in industrial settings, such as predictive maintenance, process optimization, and quality control. By analyzing large amounts of data from sensors, machines, and other sources, AI systems can identify patterns and trends that might not be visible to humans, and use this information to improve the efficiency and performance of industrial processes. AI can also be used to enhance the capabilities of industrial automation systems by enabling them to adapt and learn from their surroundings and experiences. Overall, the use of AI in industrial automation is expected to lead to significant improvements in productivity, efficiency, and quality, as well as new opportunities for innovation and growth in the industry.
Yeah, I think that sort of speaks to where the vision has been for a long time with regards to AI and industrial systems. I think for the past 10 years, people have been talking about that all it does is just put away data. That's what VTScada does best, is it brings in all these kinds of information, puts it in one place and keeps it safe and makes it easy to share. And also when people talk about IIoT and putting edge devices out in the field, it really is about being able to sort of step up our game in terms of being able to get large amounts of data, all of which makes it much more difficult for humans to interpret that information in a meaningful way. It used to be like, hey, that number's too large, we should turn that off. But now we're looking to not just keep things from overflowing, but to create optimal flows, to reduce cost, to reduce waste, to reduce overpumping. And sometimes often those things are not visible to the naked eye just looking at an HMI. So I think I've gone on about as long as ChatGPT did, so I'll just shut it off there.
All right, so next month I'm going to come back. I'm going to try and stump my coworkers next month. ChatGPT did a great job, but I want to get back to trying stumping my coworkers because it's Questions with Nat and it's throwing my coworkers under the bus. So come back next month.
Hello,
I'd like to talk to you about AI. AI is really just the next generation in automation, the making of our lives easier, making us more productive. Going back decades, we had computers in the 60s that were starting in the automation world, kept people from having to walk around turning valves on and off. And now it's to the point where we have HMI SCADA systems collecting massive amounts of data and doing a lot of automation work. We still have the human in the loop right now where it's looking at the data on the screen, not so much as a pilot driving the system, but as reacting to problems that appear and maybe starting processes that are occurring in, intermittently. So AI brings another level to it. It takes the higher level intelligence, looks at the data as a whole. Data is the food for an artificial intelligence, and HMI SCADA systems have data by the terabytes. They collect data and allow it to be processed and generate a new type of model for a process we'll call digital twin. So you can imagine a digital twin is an artificial intelligence that models how your plant works. And if you have that, then you can take it and play simulations with it, play what if. And then you can take another neural network and say, let's optimize this virtual plant. And you end up with a system now that has the ability to work on optimizing everything that's going on. You can imagine a system that will say, I don't really need an operator to react to problems. I will just tell the operator when something needs to be done. So overall, it's a way of optimizing our time, leveraging what we can do. And overall, I'm still looking for the right problem to solve here. We talk about a few general solutions or general goals of AI. In the SCADA system, the costs of generating these AI systems, because every plant is unique, is quite high still. So unless the process is extremely valuable, the gains are a lot, we're still trying to find out how can we make it more generic across multiple industries. Still got some work to do there, but it's an exciting time to be around looking at this new era of AI where we're going to leverage our performance to get the expert on the scene at all times.
All right, so we are coming towards the end of the first episode of season 4. We brought this episode to you from the downtown Halifax Central Library in beautiful Halifax, Nova Scotia. Chris and I ordered up this weather, especially for today, filming in front of these windows.
You could do that in Canada.
You know, Chris, if it was a few degrees the other way, it would be a snowstorm, so I'm thankful for the rain, not the snow.
We better wrap that up before we get to the snow.
Yeah, and so who else are we thankful for?
Right. We're thankful to our teammates, Keith, Dave, and Pete. Thanks, guys. Also to our regular contributors, Lee Kibler from Riviera Utilities and Ian Schmertzler from Dispel. And, of course, our president, Glenn Wadden, for all that he did. And
so straight into parting remarks, I do want to make a mention that if you need a certificate of attendance for professional development hours, there's going to be a link in the chat and a link over on the forums, so make sure you fill out that survey so we can get that certificate to you.
This show is brought to you by VTScada software. If you'd like to try VTScada software, go to our website, download VTScada Lite, and then go to the VTScada Academy. Both those things are free, perpetual. It's a great way for someone who doesn't have any experience go from that to a professional VTScada user. And while you're on our website, we've got all the links, of course, to our social channels, so make sure that you subscribe to the ones that you're the most active on so you can always stay up to date with all VTScada information. One of the most important being that that's where we make all the announcements about VTScada Fest. It's going to be totally epic. It happens in March. All the people who create VTScada, support VTScada, sell VTScada, love VTScada, we all emerge once a year in Florida, and we have 2 days of just, I love VTScada. At? Universal Orlando. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, join us. So once again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your time. Hope you enjoyed eating your sandwich at your desk with us, and we'll see you in February.